For the seeker, it's like everything is a technique or is seen as a technique. So even if you're not practicing techniques like meditations or going to satsangs or if you're not into the spiritual, the new age spirituality with angels and meanings everywhere and all energy and play with energy and all that, or yoga as a practice for enlightenment or as a practice or Kundalini rising. So even if you're not into that, and if you watch non-duality videos, and then it's still seen as a technique somehow because, well, there is something to get. So here's what that speaker or teacher, if you're into teachers, funny, but here's what he says, and okay, no, I get it now, or maybe I'll get it, or he'll say something that I will get, that I will. And so there's that thought, that tiny, teeny thought that becomes a big thing. That it's like every word could be seen as the potential word that will end the seeking. And that's the whole paradox, because liberation is when the seeker is no more. But the thing is the seeking is no more. But seeking no seeking is seeking. So for the seeker, there must be something to do. There must be something to understand, to get. Or moments that will arrive, that will make this all go away. And that's the very seeking. So in that way, everything is seen as a technique. I remember I had thoughts, seemingly. I never had thoughts. No one has thoughts. But it felt like I had thoughts. That, okay, now this one, and now that one, and now that, it was just, every single thought would be analyzed into other thoughts, into other understandings that give a seeming realization. And I seemingly had many realizations that this is it. Now I get it. But so long as you think you get it, you don't, because there really is nothing to get. So what happens then when it all goes away? Well, nothing. Nothing goes away. Nothing. It's not like, it's just seen that it wasn't real, but it's not seen with words or anything. It's not a moment in time. It's just really nothing happens. Nothing at all. And so it is realized at the same time, simultaneously, that nothing ever actually happened to you. That there never was a real you. And all that are just still explanations. If you think, well, now watching this video, what Maxx is saying, it will bring me something it doesn't. It never does. It's all blah blah. BS, really, all of that. Just an explanation. It doesn't hold any value. It doesn't hold any meaning. Nothing ever does. Nothing does already. It's just how it is, how everything is. But me, you see, I'm different. I have psychological issues. I have love, heart problems. I've got even so-called strong issues like, I don't know, multiple personality disorder, stuff like that. It's fine. No one has personality already. Nothing. Personality is just another understanding for this. I have no clue what this is. Nobody does. But the end of seeking is the end of thinking you should know, or the end of knowing, period. The end of, for anything that needs to happen. So it's fine if you're into teachers, it's fine if you're into non-duality videos, it's fine, everything is fine, because it's all this already. it's just pointing out here that nothing brings anything already, at all. Certainly not this video, certainly not any video. No matter how articulate the guys may be. And some are absolutely wonderful at that, but it's just, talking. Just a response. Not even, I don't know. This is complete unknowing, but it's not a state of unknowing. The question of knowing or not knowing is not the question anymore. It's when there is no more questions. And this is already the case. This is what it's saying. This does not bring any answer. There is no answer. So any technique, so-called voluntarily, nothing is voluntary at all. The free will is just something for the individual which doesn't exist already. A thought that feels real to the seeker. It feels like it's a real me. Ultimately, it's a thought. Not even, I don't know what it is. I have no clue. Saying it's thought is just an explanation. Saying it's a felt sense is just an explanation. But if things are seen as a technique, as a even not voluntary, so even if it's just the very seeking, basically. If it's realized, for example, that the seeking is not voluntary, but they're still seeking, well, it's just happening. There is nothing, wonderfully nothing, that one can do to stop the seeking, because that would be seeking anyway. So the person is already fucked. The person is already non-existent. The seeking already does not exist. It doesn't. It has no reality. But even if it feels like it's something, it's just not. It's just not. It doesn't exist. It's not happening. And that again is just nothing but an explanation. Because I really have no clue what's going on. And that's all this is saying. Nobody does. So anything arises, anything. There's nothing that's not valid in that way. The question doesn't arise. It's just this. And this is not a whatever. This seeming character has got no idea. But the seeming character does not feel like a character, and doesn't feel like a non-character, doesn't feel like a non-person. That doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. There is just wonderfully nothing happening. This video is not really happening. It's real and unreal at the same time. There are no words that can qualify anything. It's just a story. It's just pointing out that everything is a story. Everything. And it's very simple and maybe frustrating to hear the same things from the seeker's perspective, that it's always the same thing, but it's not. It's boring. What's boring? And boredom can arise, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, it's all what's happening. It's all what's going on. And that's all there is. You can seek for billions of years. You will always come to this. Science, spirituality, meditation, anything. Practicing sports as a whatever. Being healthy to, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those things. I'm just saying if it's done with a goal to free yourself, it always brings to nothing. It always brings to this. The only conclusion is this. What's going on? And all of that is what's going on. Why is there seeking? Nobody has a clue. But it's just pointing out here that it doesn't exist already. It's all what's going on. Everything. You're never close nor far. You're just not as a real individual. But all of that is just again blah blah. That doesn't bring anything. All of that is this. Wonderfully nothing, being everything.